Well, hello again. It's your boy Kendall, and we are here on day 25. Yeah, that's right. That's right, folks. Day 25 of 100 Days of Codes. Can you believe it? We are a quarter of the way through of our 100 Days of Code challenge. I can't believe it, but I'm psyched nonetheless. So you know the drill by now is we are doing 100 days of code, and we have committed to doing this every day for 100 days, doing a video diary. We decided to do a video diary because, well, we thought that writing was too simple, and we thought the video was going to challenge us just that little bit more than everything else. So that's what we did. We did this video diary. And so here we are on day 25. So the rules we know from 100 Days of Code are: one, that you code an hour a day; two, you make sure to keep yourself accountable on Twitter; three, that you hold yourself accountable publicly; and four, that you reflect on sort of your thoughts and emotions and that sort of thing. So, yeah, so what did we get up to today as far as School of Code and 100 Days of Code? Well, today we had Joseph in, the Mind Ninja, the Mind Master, who teaches us every Thursday and gives little mind insights. So today we spoke about sort of your inner critic versus your inner champion, and we sort of looked at the perfectionist and the pusher and all these sort of things, and what sort of person you are. Do you try to control things? Are you afraid of things? We talked about how it's controlled by your amygdala, all cool stuff like that we talked about. Um, and we drew like a picture of sort of our inner critic and what our inner critic says to us. Those sorts of things like, you're rubbish, you're never gonna do it, you're never gonna get it, things like that. That's what my inner critic says, things like that. And we also looked at sort of what the inner champion says, and the inner champion says separate things, and it says, you can do this, and you know what, keep showing up. If you keep showing up, eventually you'll get it, things like that. And so we looked at the differences between the two, and we shared those into the Slack channel. So we use Slack to share those pictures with one another, and we show the shared experience of sort of people feeling exactly the same things, that it's not uncommon to everybody. So that was really powerful this morning. It's a really great way to sort of start the days after our squats for the day, which always have to happen, of course. So we have legs of steel by this point after 4 weeks, and they're only going to get better. We're going to be bodybuilders by the end with humongous legs and everything else out of proportion. No chicken legs here. So, what else did we get up to coding wise? So coding wise, we looked at a little bit more of CRUD, or we looked at things like post requests, and we looked at more things like sort of putting post requests, so get.post, into your root file and those sort of things. And we looked at sort of being able to use that with express.json in the other file, how to use the next command in Express, and that sort of thing, and how sort of it works in the file that's the file that works in sort of a top-down sort of approach where it cascades down the process, and if you have next, then it obviously takes to the next thing as well. And we looked at everything links together. We also use things like, for example, so we used our books example from the other day, and we sort of went a little deeper with post, and we talked about things like delete, and we talked about all the different various parts of CRUD. But as well as that, what we did is we did an exercise where we started working with this program called Postman. And Postman, we downloaded the desktop version of Postman. Bless me. So, you can't time these things. So whatever the case, I'm recovering from a little bit of not recovering. I've got a bit of a cold in the moment, a bit of a sore throat, those sort of things. I was up late last night, so excuse the tiredness and sneezes. You could never tell, I'm sure. But anyways, Postman, what it does is it keeps track of, or it can test what you're doing on the back end. So it sort of works as a front end interaction to what you're doing with your node servers, or you're using Express and those sort of things. So for example, if I post up if I do a get post request, and it says that when I'm in this Postman sort of program, what I can do is on the front side, I can say, well, take in this JSON, and this JSON is a new book to add to the thing, to this object or this array of books that I already have that's already storing things, but I want you to add another one. So I can choose body on this Postman thing, and I've got in the back end, I've got req.body, so that when I get a request, it then adds that to the body, accesses the body, and then adds that sort of JSON on. And I have in my app.js, my main file, the part that sort of I interact with on the back ends. It's basically saying that whatever package comes in, I want you to open it up, and that's a request that is built into Express that you can use. It's express.json, and it's like a function. So it's super, super cool. That unpacks the JSON that you put into, for example, the body on the Postman side, or maybe on a website side. But the Postman sort of recreates that front end side so you can see what goes on. And what happens is when you add in something on the front sides, if you've got everything set up well on the back side, it will then give you your results, and it will show you how it's added it in, and show you. So for example, if there were 5 books and you added in ID 6 to an ID of 5 books, then there'll be a 6th book there. So that's what we did today, things like that. That was really, really awesome. And then at the end of the day, so it was a lot of fun to learn those things, and I'm sure it'll come in handy with our hackathon tomorrow, which is going to be awesome. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, we got to be with 3 others. So me and my pair, and 2 others. We joined forces together. By our powers combined, we became Team HTTP. And so our task was sort of a research task for the afternoon for a couple hours. Or what we did is we searched about sort of the history of HTTP, where it came from. So we learned obviously that it came out in 1989, was sort of the first sort of iteration and that sort of thing. And then there was following ones in 96 1.0 and 97 1.1, things like that. And we learned what sort of came with those, and sort of as user demand increased, then of course they bulked it up and did updates and tried to make it better and all these sort of things. Yeah, we learned about some of those things, and we got to not only do this research task where we learn lots of cool stuff about HTTP, so HTTP 1, 2, which are standardized, and then 3, which isn't yet, but also the capabilities of sort of, for example, with HTTP 3, it's on UDP, and it can be connectionless. So things like that. So we learned a lot of cool stuff today as far as that. And then we got the joy and the privilege of presenting it to other people, to sort of brush up our presentation skills as groups and together, and sharpen up those skills of sort of implementing what we've learned. So all in all, it's been a really good day on day 25 of 100 Days of Codes, and we're almost through week 4 of School of Codes, which has been awesome. It's been emotional. I've been feeling unwell today, so it's been a little bit harder to get through and a little bit harder to focus. But overall, I think we've done well. Copious amounts of coffee, lots of snacks here and there, and being kind to myself along the way. It's been helpful. But it's going to be an early night tonight. So that's why I'm doing this a little bit earlier than normal. But guys, it's been really beautiful being with you again. I wish you all the best, all the love in the world. And you know what? All the best in your continued journey. Oh, and one other thing. One quote that I loved, Hamza gave earlier on. Hamza is one of the guys, the mentors and the assistant coaches on our course. And he gave this Chinese proverb. And I leave this parting advice with you. And it's a Chinese proverb that says, be not afraid of growing slowly. Be afraid only of standing still. So I'll say that again. Be not afraid of growing slowly. Be afraid only of standing still. I thought this was a beautiful way of putting it. Never be afraid of growing slowly. Only be afraid of standing still. So anyways, guys, peace for now, and we'll see you tomorrow.